Okay, Ocean State running. Steve Mazzone here with Zack Kelling of Coventry. Zack, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me here.
And once again, we're here for our Celebrating Seniors feature. Zack, a weight thrower and hammer thrower for Coventry. Zack, we're going to get things started. So this COVID-19 pandemic starts right about when Nationals is happening, actually the week of Nationals. You're set to go competing in the emerging elite division in the hammer. What were your, or in the weight, what were your thoughts once this happened, and how are you able to deal with it?
Well, sure things. I think I woke up for school. It was Thursday morning, so it was the day before. Actually, no, it was Wednesday, so it was 2 days before Nationals. I was getting my stuff together, and then I got an email on my phone, and it was breaking news. Nationals got canceled, and well, I was bummed about it really, because the first thing I wanted to do, well, the whole week plan prior to this, I've been training, for like my big moment, I guess, for me, and it's something I've been working forward to in my entire track, career in high school, and just to have the news of it being canceled was like heartbreaking, basically. But you just can't focus on the past. You gotta move forward. So I started training for Hammer, in hopes that I still might have a season, to be honest.
And Zack, talk about this indoor season you had. So hitting the 60-foot mark for the first time, right, in your career this year. How is it different from last year?
So last year was kind of a rough year for me. I mean, it was like my first official track year, besides my like sophomore year, which was like half a season. But so junior year, I was throwing maybe about 42, 43 feet, nothing big. I think I topped off at 45 maybe. And moving into the in between indoor and outdoor season, I started like this workout program, and I was really I was having high hopes for the outdoor season, but unfortunately, I broke my hip in the weight room, so that kind of crippled my season, and I wasn't able to, get outside and start throwing the hammer until very late April, early May. So, but I did finish the season with 145 in hammer, which was I think it exceeded my goals, I guess, but having that 5 feet difference from making emerging elite was kind of crushing. But I was really looking forward to the senior season, making a big surprise.
So Zack, you said you broke your hip while in the weight room while lifting.
Yes, it was with lunges, and basically what happened was it was a bulging fracture. So my muscle that was attached to my hip kind of yanked off a piece of bone, and yeah.
How long did it take you to recover from that?
So it happened I think it was the first week of March of 2019, and let's say about 7, 8 weeks till I was weight bearing again.
So the fact that you threw 145, missing all that time with that injury, that seems like like you said. I mean, definitely a good accomplishment considering.
Yes, my with the support of my coaches and stuff, they were really like they were excited for me to be back and start like really improving, because from sophomore year I was throwing the hammer maybe 103, 105 feet, and that have big 40-foot increase from the previous season. No, they were just really impressed, and it really drove me to like be a better thrower.
So speaking of that hammer, so again, like you said, 145 too. You said this year, right when you found out that the Nationals were canceled, you moved right over into outdoor mode, and right away, within a few weeks, you were already throwing the hammer 185 feet, which is what, a 40-foot improvement. So you were on to what was potentially a very good season. Talk about that. Talk about like being able to throw that far. What was the initial reaction when you were in practice in throwing the hammer that far?
Well, of course, with indoor season, I try to work with the weight as least as possible, because, in my opinion, it does mess up my technique with the hammer. So I frequently throw the hammer a lot more in the indoor season than the weight, and so I always work with the hammer. And this indoor season past, I feel like I've felt a definite increase in my technique and strength as well with working out. And I just see the dramatic increase of distance. I also worked throwing with a hammer over the summer too. So those a lot of sessions, a lot of throws, those really helped improve it, my throwing ability. And moving into the senior season, I was like hoping to even get close to maybe 200 feet. That was my goal.
Yeah, and Zach, talk about throwing the hammer in a state like Rhode Island, where we have the best hammer throws in the world. I mean, in the country, we have two that can throw over 200 feet, a bunch more that can throw in that 190. And like I was talking to you previously, before this, you're saying 185 probably wouldn't even get you into the finals, but could win a state meet at most other states that have the hammer. Talk about competing here in Rhode Island where you got such great weight throwers.
I've always seen Rhode Island as like the hot spot for hammer throwing, and it's tough competition. We have people from Barrington, Woonsocket, Lincoln, all these great throwers, and it's looking at me from like a kid from Coventry. I've my sophomore year, I had no good hammer throwers with me, so it was easy for me to work up to be like the best in my school. But I never actually competed with the best of the best of the island, so I was never exposed to that kind of like competition until this season really. And then when you look at it in context, you see really how difficult it is to be the best in Rhode Island, because working with other meets this indoor season from kids from out of state and stuff, you see like their distance, and it's like, oof, if I lived in that state. But I feel that competition breeds competition. And, when you work with the best, people only want to get better. So honestly, it is a tough competition in Rhode Island, and it probably will be for quite some time. But I'm proud to be here.
Now, what do you do to get motivated before you step in that circle? What I mean, I know athletes do certain things. What do you do to get yourself motivated?
Well, basically the day of, I just kind of listen to music, get in the right mindset. I think of basically nothing else, because the more I think about other things, the more I'm most likely going to mess up. I also, just have to basically trust in myself and my technique that it will carry me through the meet. Because the more you think about your throws, the more you're going to more likely to mess up. And I just try to think least about that. Just think, going into the mindset with, I'm going to do great. I'm going to be the best I can be. And hopefully a new PR.
Seems like a great plan. So Zach, why the hammer? Why the weight throw? Was this something? I mean, what persuaded you, or what inspired you to do this event in high school?
So my freshman year, I've done football 4 years, but my freshman year, I wasn't really exposed to track or anything about it. And most kids in my school have the mindset of track is running and that's it. And I had a similar mindset, but my brother um, was the pole vaulting coach, so he's like, you should do weight. I think you'd be good at it. And from there, I was like, sure. So sophomore year, I started throwing the hammer. I did not do the indoor season, so I did the outdoor. So I did hammer, and it was weird. I was like, I was like in between whether or not I liked it, but I figured, this is kind of fun, and I should just stick with it. And moving into the indoor season of junior year, I'm like, let's do the weight, and from so on from there, I just really enjoyed it, to be honest with you. More like a passion kind of now.
Now, are you able to still work on your craft during this time? I know the social distancing, we have to remain 6 feet or more from people, and we kind of have to, follow the guidelines and stuff like that. Have you been able to at least somewhat train for your event with, because the nationals are still on, it seems. They've been moved a month to July. Is that something that you're shooting for, and have you been able to continue to train consistently?
So consistently in terms of throwing the hammer, I tried to. The high school is open with limited amount of people, of course, but I do get the hammers. I try to go to the circle, no one's there, and it's hard to improve basically, because you know one of the biggest benefactors of me improving the season was my throwers coach. And since he's not allowed to be there with me, it does take like a dramatic effect on my ability to improve. But I make the best of that situation, and I'll show him videos, give me his opinion on what I need to work on. So from that technical standpoint, I try to improve where I can. Um, but also in terms of the weight room, it's also difficult for me because the weight room's closed, gyms are closed, and I'm basically just limited to body weight exercises for me.
So are you looking at the nationals as a meet that you're going to be shooting for? Because I know Bob Gorley, the Barrington coach, has several like different events during the summer too. I'm not sure how many he's going to be able to do with everything that's going on, but I'm sure that's what you guys also look at. But are you looking at the nationals in July potentially too?
Uh, I definitely am. Yeah. You know, I heard hearing nationals being moved from June to July was like it was good news for me because I knew it wasn't going to be canceled. And me having been to nationals before, this is kind of like my last opportunity to go and just experience it. And so, yeah, of course, I'm kind of ready to go to nationals.
No, I really do hope that they're able to have it. I'm sure there's going to be some. It's going to be a little different, but I'm hoping they do have that for you guys to at least have some closure to your season, to your high school career. Um, so Zach, I'm going to ask you a random question that I've been asking all the other people during this feature. If you could go anywhere in the world, all expense paid trip, where would you go and why?
Uh, all expense paid. That's a good question. Uh, you know, uh, Probably like people say like a general question like Europe, but like I've always wanted to see because I'm like big into history. So I want to go to like Italy, like Rome, and I want to see all the you know all the Roman Empire stuff, and enjoy Italy as a culture, Venice, because I've seen a bunch of movies where Italy is like the setting. I was like, wow, this place looks amazing. So I guess Italy.
And Zach, what's something people may not know about you?
Know about me. Besides
Besides
how
what they can already see and what they already know.
besides that, I guess one of my side hobbies I don't really talk about much is disc golf. I don't know if you heard of it, but my engineering teacher for high school got me into it, and he would take us out during like free period, and he would introduce it to us. So this Christmas, I got really into disc golf, and I don't really share too much about it to anybody, but yeah, big disc golf fan.
Now disc golf is with a frisbee,
Yes.
and it's what you're gonna throw it through some kind of hoop or something.
Yeah, you throw it into like a net, but it's like a hole. But yeah,
Okay.
similar rules to golf. Yes.
So Zach, any particular person or people that you want to give a shout out to?
Besides my family, I'd like to thank my throws coach, Michael Laughlin. He's been a big help to me along my journey to, get to where I am today. And I feel like without him, I don't think that could be possible.
Yeah, and let's talk about your weight coach. What is it that makes it click between you and him?
Well, I mean, he's got like the goofy personality, if that makes sense. He's serious when he needs to be, and he's joking around when the tension is light. It's I don't know, it's a personality thing. It's people like him come far and few between, and honestly, just having him at practice, lightens the mood. It kind of like I don't know, it just helps me. Him being there, makes a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely. You do want a coach that has that fine balance, like it seems like he does. So you're heading off to URI next year.
Yes, I am.
What are you going to be majoring in? Have you decided on that?
I think I'm gonna be majoring in civil engineering.
Civil engineering, and why that?
Besides that, I've always been kind of into engineering my entire life, and um, when it comes to jobs, I kind of want to stay within Rhode Island, and I know that I'm not a lot of well, my other major would have been mechanical engineering, but not a lot of them are in state, and not a lot of jobs are offered for like first year out of colleges. So civil engineering is a lot more job offerings in Rhode Island, and it's hoping to stay local. besides that, I just kind of enjoy civil engineering because the stuff you design, you get to see built around you. Because a lot of the jobs you do with civil engineering are local, so it's just kind of good to be able to see the work you know stuff you design to see in person and see like what you've accomplished.
That's definitely a motivator. I agree with you on that. Are you gonna be doing track down there too?
Yes, I am.
And how about this distance learning? How you doing with that, and what's your thoughts on it? You've been doing it for what, 7 weeks at least, maybe even 8 weeks by now.
Yeah, just about. So my school ends. I think my last class for seniors is May 27th. So a couple weeks left. But overall, going from the school classroom environment to distance learning, it's a struggle, most likely with everybody. But it's just something you have to adjust to because there's going to be challenges in your life. You should, face them. But we're like 6, 7, 8 weeks in. I've adjusted to it. I think I'm doing fine. You know, and time management with my stuff is really simple. So other than that, the first couple of weeks were rough, but as that time goes on, I adjust and just kind of becomes more like second nature.
And finally, the last thing I want to ask you is, what type of advice can you give, like those incoming freshmen, or the young kids that are doing track and field right now? What's some piece of advice you'd want to give them?
Um, Stick with it because I know when I first started, I was not very good and I almost wanted to quit basically. But stick with it and overall you'll get better. I promise you'll improve.
And you're living proof, obviously, with the results you've been getting lately, and what you've done throughout your career. Well, Zack, thanks for joining us today again. With doing these celebrating senior features, basically to kind of give you guys your just due. You kind of got shortchanged with COVID-19, kind of putting an end to your season. So it is just our way of giving back to you guys. But I wish you the best of luck in the next chapter in your life down at URI and beyond. But again, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks.